Welcome everyone to our special deep space meditation today. Those of you joining us on the East Coast are in the middle of a storm, so there might be a lot of you that are not joining us today because I don't know if the power's on in New York City. But anyway, welcome everyone. I'm Sudama. Today we're gonna journey deep and we're gonna have some fun, just because I want to use the metaphors of Star Trek to kind of uncover the dynamics of our psyche and our heart and how sacred geometry works with pressure waves and breath and all sorts of fun stuff. So first things first, let's just let the universe roll off of you. Like water on a lotus leaf, just roll right off, just wow. Relaxing brain, dropping into your inner terrain. Become the viewer, not the doer. Just dropping deeper. And just feel how spacious you are in this deeper place. Once you acclimate, once you arrive at the stillness will clear the illness, whatever it is. The stillness will clear the illness. So let's become righteously still and just allow. If the universe had something to tell you, this is your opportunity to listen, look, feel, download. The universe communicates in so many ways. We just want to breathe and feel this incoming wave of the breath. Exhaling. It takes confused negative emotions and aligns them into a new electrical envelope around the heart, and then your new feeling has a beautiful shape. Right? It's called love. It's a phi ratio wave, a beautiful emanation of the heart. Whatever confusion is there, whatever bad feelings are there, as you breathe in, it's like the self-organizing nature of the breath and consciousness grabs hold of any funky emotions, bad feelings, and spirals them right into a sacred geometry. So let's experience that. How the breath makes us whole. Breathing through the nose, just calming down the brain, calming down the breath, coming to peace. And as you relax, you'll notice shoulders relaxing, jaw relaxing. Entire being coming to stillness. Stillness will clear any illness. Mark Twain quoted the Greeks on that. I think he took credit. But the truth is the truth. Stillness will clear the illness. So as you become increasingly still, less important things occupy your brain for a bit, and then you release them. They come bubbling up to be released. And then the more important thoughts follow. The deeper waveform of your feeling, the deeper waveform of your reality. So if we want the heart to nest all of these waves together, to fractally embed into, you could call it the recursive waveforms of the heart that spiral back to infinity and hold on to that sacred geometry, which allows us a link to the unified field, which is essentially infinite potential. So anything you want, anything you don't have, anything that's out of balance is going to be aligned by the field itself. So we want to just give our body this opportunity, our mind this opportunity, just to drop inside and allow the self-organizing nature of consciousness to work its magic. Which means you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is be here. So here we are. There are no electrons creating the past at this moment. Every electron in the universe is actively present. So we want to be actively present. Just let the space of awareness itself be your mantra. As we listen to the expanding fields around us, the temporal lobes open up. They're connected to our hearing and to the invisible world. We start to become more aware of the invisible and more subtle energies operating. As we relax frontal lobe, which connects to basal ganglia, substantia nigra, which creates the dopamine circuit in the brain, which creates subjective time ultimately. So our little personal units of time are under the control of dopamine. So we breathe. We give thanks, we bless the past. Allow that love envelope to cascade out of your heart. The phi ratio that you are, this perfect harmonizing force of love that is essentially your deepest nature. What is meditation? It's attention on that, or anything else you want, but why not focus on that? This is kind of like supreme I am yoga, Ananda yoga, bliss yoga, experiencing your nature, vinyasa flow for the mind, the fractal attractor of your heart, integrating your reality in a much more coherent way than if we're looking to the outside and trying to get something. Enough of the stuff. Come back to the source of the stuff, the true abundant field of light, of beingness, pure I amness. So just let yourself glow for a while. Just feel the glow of your being. You are a biophotonic phenomenon. You're made of gazillions and gazillions of photons organized into amazing fields of energy that know what they're doing. So if you feel lost and confused and upset or anything like that, just surrender to the fact that your body is way smarter than you. Way smarter than us. It's been around for millions of years. It has all kinds of genetic genius and issues. But we want to just tune into the body intelligence. It's like your starship. It has many layers of brilliance to it. Everything in ratio to itself. It's a multi-creatured cell. And we're multi-celled creatures living in yet another multi-creatured cell, which is within another multi-celled creature of sorts. So this infinite inverse waves of being. And we just occupy brilliantly that biological continuum between infinity and the smallest of the smalls. It's like the universe was actually designed for us. It accommodates the biological level brilliantly. So let's say, who's the captain of your starship? Is it the divine? Is it your mind? Is it your ego? Who's running your show? It's a good thing to know. And let's just check in. We have a logic brain over here. Beautiful geospatial brilliance on this side. And this side connects to the heart. Left side vagus nerve does not. Bypasses the heart, goes to the brain, so the mad scientists can invent crazy things and not have a clue. But if we're connected to the heart, so ultimately the starship, Star Trek analogy is really an inner voyage ultimately. Much as it's fascinating to think of going to other planets, we do that at night. You don't need a starship for that, right? So we astrally travel. So let's say to go inside to the inner universe, now we're talking, all right? This is the true deep space. They can go to Mars, but you'll have more satisfaction. Because you are Mars. Mars is inside of you. I've even seen it written. There's Catholic nuns that write about the fact that there's more of the universe inside of you than there is outside of you. So that would suggest it's best to take the journey in. So what happens when we do that? It's different every time, right? Let's go to the most elementary level right now, which is the most profound level. Simplicity is good. Let's say, here you are, observing. Essentially, you are the atomic table itself. You're the magnificent hydrogen that is 80% of the universe. Your brain is noble gases driven by helium and the carbon cycle. The third octave of creation, in between 40 octaves of ultraviolet, 40 octaves of infrared. There's 8 octaves of divine, biological, comfortable space, full of these beautiful colors. And here we are in this little bandwidth that we can operate in. It's a little known fact that the noble gases occupy the center of every chakra. So over the heart, it's argon. The throat, it's neon. And then at the bottom, it's krypton, xenon, radon. And so your spinal cord essentially is a fractal attractor, atomic table actor. How about that? Right? You are this beautiful unfoldment of this bandwidth. You are made of a gazillion colors. So let's just breathe into that beautiful thought. The universe was created for you, ultimately. You could experience the divine. And then act out every desire you want. We're just going to rest in the peace. When we get born, we come in through the hydrogen, into the Brahmani Nadi, Chitrini Nadi, into the Sushumna channel of the subtle energy body. We incarnate. We start out as a heart, this little one cell. There was 2 to 4, 8, 16, are essentially a mandala unfolding. A Fibonacci series. It's like you're a golden mean ratio flower. And so if that's the case, why is all this crazy stuff swirling around? Well, that's a good question. The best way to deal with it, for sure, the inner medicine is meditation, to allow for the infinite potential to unfold. I like to say the box world limitation, particularity gives way to the waveforms of singularity. So you go from this big mess to something that's beautifully harmonized. So we just want to make that the 51% alignment from the inside out software. It's like your starship is powered by the first salt, lithium. The starship and Enterprise is run by dilithium crystals. And if you're a little bit bunko, your lithium is probably a little bit wonko. So let's say for everyone who might be having mental issues, let's request that your lithium align with the fluorine, the nitrogen with the boron, the oxygen with the beryllium, the carbon with the helium, and then essentially the octave of your brain is aligned with the hydrogens. And then we drop down into the denser part. So why is there so much trouble in the lower chakras? It's the radioactive materials, dealing with krypton, xenon, radon. This is not light stuff, right? The more we cascade up, we get lighter and more hydrogenated. Very light stuff. So let's say your nuclear core, 50,000 femtotesla field heart, just radiating out. And when beautiful geometries touch other geometries just right, that's the magic, right? We see it in ice skating, we see it in all these beautiful sports that are based on geometries, or the feelings that are based on geometries, music that harmonizes space and time. In a sense, you are the ultimate note, right? You are the, call it the tuning fork. So we're dropping a little deeper. What you're listening to is Healing Zither. I recorded this timed waves of the zither. We counted to 8 and then repeated it. It is sort of like flying through the galaxy. I hope you're enjoying your trip. You're free to move about the cabin at this point. A little fresh air, breathing. Once anything's up and going, right? The takeoff and landing stuff is the difficult part. But once you're in meditation, whoa. And you might think, well, we're just sitting here. Like, what's the deal? That's the deal, right? You actually just want to sit there. The stillness will clear the illness. Come into alignment with your spine. It's like if the starship's thrusters were only firing on one side, it would go in a circle, right? So we want all of our thrusters, mother, father, all the symmetry of the lungs, kidneys, beautiful symmetrical body aligned with the center, aligned with the earth. Let's say your satellite dish to the galaxy. Chakra 9 above your head. Chakra 10 under your feet to the earth. Just basking in the glow. Some things are just hidden. They're concealed, need to be revealed, like the Supreme Self is hidden. I believe it's the Svetashvatara Upanishad. It says like oil in sesame, like butter in cream, like water in the riverbed, like fire and tinder, the Supreme Self lives within. Go there in meditation and experience it. That was written 3,000 years ago or whatever it was. Longer. These forest rishis sitting in the forest downloaded dragon line, huge waveforms, right? They're in harmony with their being. When we live in a city and we receive all the chopped up vibrations, it's more difficult to meditate. So if you're in a box structure, if you're live on the 8th floor of some metal building or concrete building, know that actually you can access the earth's energy from the inside out. It's just harder. It's better to be in the forest. these hidden things so deep. So let's consider things vibrating at the speed of light. If God is light, if you're made out of light, living light, the more visual meditators meditate on light. More auditory, we like the sound. The body folks like the kinesthetic experience. It will all take you to bliss. And the vrittis, these agitations of the mind, start to align with more spacious objects, in a sense, right? If you meditate on an ocean or a galaxy, deep space, your brain can't hold on to the little stuff for very long, right? So it's going to release the less relevant information and align with the greater formation, right? This bigger spaciousness. The mind likes to take the form of what it meditates on, right? So if you're meditating on a glass of orange juice, well, now there it is. But if you're meditating on the galaxy, the supreme self, the ocean of consciousness, we might have to reel you back, but it's good. Transcend your limitations. So we're just softening, breathing, allowing, lightening. And who are these Klingons? What are these Klingons? Okay, well, Klingons are probably thoughts and emotions that aren't done with you yet. Or maybe you're not done with them. And until they're done with you, they'll be there, right? So, best to be done with them. Resolve and dissolve the karma. Just kind of like command from the glands, just delete files. I find the stronger I am with myself in terms of commands, the body loves that. It's like a horse waiting for the rider. It's just waiting, it's like Google waiting for you to ask. Infinite potential is there. So then be careful what you ask for, obviously, but let's do this right now. Make the request to the universe, or the requests. It's like Star Trek Voyage is a quest, right? To seek out and discover new and unknown frontiers and worlds. And so this is our question, our questing, our request. We want to know. We're addicted to knowing, but we want to understand. We want to have right understanding. So my experience is, as a professional intuitive healer, if you need information, you just ask your body. It's kinesiology, right? You can ask it in your heart, ask it in your brain. It's going to show up if you're out of the way and you ask in a specific enough way that is smart. So when we're in a lot of pain, I would say we're not being that smart. That's one way to put it. It's karmic perhaps, and maybe you weren't so smart before, or your ancestors weren't so smart about some stuff. So it's like, get smart. Right understanding, it solves so many issues just to know what's going on. And so let's say you look out into the world right now, and it's the karma report. It's kind of like bad news. Or it's just the news, it's what it is, but it's a report, right? Not always so uplifting. And my stomach's going, it's just the idea of all of that. My body has something to say. I think if you relate to your body that way, it's pretty cool, because then you're working with it, right? Then it's guiding you as much as you guide it. So body intelligence is flooded with the earth intelligence, right? The Schumann resonance is feeding us information about the vibration of the electromagnetic situation in the earth, which is talking to the sun, which is grooving with the moon. I mean, some people say that crop circles are actually the earth expressing itself. Although I think it's really our friends from other galaxies, but we don't need to go too deep into that. But one thought is, I think it was 1973, Carl Sagan and some folks at the Arecibo satellite sent out a description of us in a kind of geometrical way. And almost, I think it was within 20 hours or something, right next to the telescope was one of these fractal crop circles that, if you translated it according to the way the original one was sent, it paralleled everything. So say, we're 2-strand DNA, and they say, well, we're 3-strand DNA, and we live on the 3rd planet from the sun. Well, we have 3 suns, or whatever it is. That they did speak back to us, actually. I don't know why it's not in the major news, but you know, that's how these things work. So let's check in with that for a minute, that you're also being assisted by, I would say, call it subtle telepathic beings from wherever they come from, right? They're not interested in controlling us, evidently, at least the smart ones. They're interested in shedding light, right? Guiding us. And so they don't do the work for us. But from what I understand, they will neutralize nuclear launches that are inadvertent, right? They can stop bad stuff sometimes. So, because they're invested in our future as well. So let's say this subtle energy that's embedding in us as kind of an evolutionary fire. It's like a fractally embedded inertia spin. At the center of this spin, we create like a new universe. And then that's kind of like what mind is on some level. We're like this receiver of sort of vortex into this amazingly receptive place. And so the meditation will bring you to that space where the 2 gyre vortices come together in the heart. And in that place, there's no polarity. So you could say the heart is neutral. And if you want to say God is neutral in that regard within you, I think that works, right? That feels right. So let's hang out with whatever that is for a minute. Like, think, well, what is God doing? What is this being thing doing, right? So it's kind of like God is like so absorbed in the bliss that if you want God's attention, if you want the attention of this deepest being, it's sort of like, I've seen it written elsewhere, it's like the angel bar. You kind of have to shout to, yoo-hoo, hello, to get some attention. So it means you might have to ask with conviction. You might have to ask with every cell of your body, right? When you want that, experience, that connection. So that's doable. Let's do that. You could say, well, what are we doing right now? Well, we're talking to God. Or we're letting God talk to you, or whatever, however you want to think of it. Meaning you're giving space for the infinite little bandwidth to kind of slip in there and download something for you. It's kind of like Mozart would get the downloads complete. So here we go. We're just going to get a download. Whatever download you want, just request. God will deliver. Oh, here comes a fun little quote that I wrote. Sort of a combination of other things I've seen, kind of all strung together. Mind itself is the interconnected inertia of these glocal holarchies embedded into the stillness of the nested hologram of your heart. Basically, you are infinity wrapped up into a cozy little ball. And as Walt Whitman would say, you contain multitudes. You are vast. He sang the body electric, right? He celebrated our electromagnetic, subtle energy body 170 years ago. Your thoughts are the starships as they cross the galaxy at warp speed, defying the warp and woof of space-time. So we ride this tachyonic corridor, ride the space waves from planet to planet. And as Sun Ra would say, we're the astro nation of the united world of outer space. We travel the space waves from planet to planet. Did you know that you're 6 feet of DNA per cell? I'm just going to give you a little information about you. Just to kind of blow your mind, right? Amazingness is arresting. It allows the mind to get out of the way when we experience something amazing or think of something amazing, and then the self just sort of bubbles right up, right? There's 20,000 genes per chromosome. And speaking of outer space, evidently, I've been waiting for a long time to share this. this Greg Braden has made this information available that, for example, the chimpanzee has 48 chromosomes and we have 46. And evidently 2 of those were modified with CRISPR technology by some advanced beings 200,000 years ago, because we just sort of came out of nowhere, and the chimps have been there for a while and they haven't changed much. We're like 98.6% chimp, but we can walk and talk, right? We have the 2NP fox gene, it's called, and this other gene were spliced, and here we are, right? So you could make a pretty good case now scientifically that we're alien hybrid of sorts, right? That's the science at the moment. That's not the conspiracy theory. That's actually the science of it. So who are we in that regard, right? We're made out of light from another point of view. We've been embedded with something more profound than just the clay body, right? We're sort of like God from the inside out, and since the universe is self-organizing, it's organizing itself better and better into this alignment. So let's just ponder that for a minute. That we're from this earth, our bodies, and yet we're downloading something else. I think your DNA can wrap around the planet 5 million times. So we are vast, right? We are the universe in its organic, fractal, microcosmic version, right? We are, if you like the Hindu version, we are the Lord Shiva and Brahma and Vishnu all together, right? We create, sustain, dissolve, conceal, reveal, right? We're freaking awesome. And so when we forget this, life is difficult. So let's say, hopefully today we're remembering this and continue with that continuity, call it a divine recognition. There's a famous scripture in India, the Pratyabhijna Hridayam, which essentially, it's really about your intuition, right? It's the fact that you have insight capacity, insight intelligence. And insight intelligence seems to happen at the speed of light, right? Suddenly, flash, boom, how did you know that, right? So, insight intelligence, the flash of the spanda, this vibration of your being that wells up as pure desire. It's like we are the tuning fork itself, right? And we vibrate. Let's say if someone says a mantra, then we vibrate to that. That's why the expression, the mind is the mantra, right? Mantra is sort of like the thing that, boom, right? Makes you tuning fork vibrate. In this regard, you are the tuning fork. I wanted to try something actually. Where do my tuning forks go? These things run away when I need them. Anyway, they've escaped. So we'll just have to go with the crystal. So this beautiful crystal is a heart. Excuse me, a prayer alignment crystal. Let's say we're just praying for everyone's safety, beautiful heart, family, tribe, country, blessings from this wonderful place that we've carved out. From this place, we bless. Last time we talked about teleportation, which seems sort of like, that's impossible. But in fact, electrons teleport, right? They don't slow down. I don't think they'll ever slow down. They literally disappear and reappear from one electron shell to the next. And so that means literally every part of your body is in a continuous state of teleportation. Seriously, if you want to look at it from that point of view. And so to teleport ourselves, well, I'm not thinking of this so much with the body, obviously, but you can teleport yourself psychically anywhere you want. You can go into someone's mind far away. You could heal them. You could travel in a remote view if you develop that skill. You can become the cosmos. There's so much we can do from that point of view. So let's do that for a minute. And here's the fun thought. We're not sending our body somewhere else, but we can disappear our body for a while in terms of our subjective experience. So that seems to happen every time you meditate well, isn't it, right? Your body kind of disappears. Where did it go? And there you are in this light show. And then you have to sort of come back into this body. So let's do that. We're going to teleport to some beautiful place of your making. Just go there and roam. Just cook it up. That will elevate the voltage in your adrenal glands. When I work healing people, this helps tremendously. Think beautiful thoughts. Voltage comes up. Here we go. Just feel your body disappearing as you align with the more subtle energy body. So ultimately, this is a kind of non-local medicine we're doing. I'm here, you're there, we're wherever we are, and yet we're totally connected through the non-local space. It's like the spooky at a distance thing of Einstein was proven in the 90s. And so It's like you could tweak something at a distance and in that same moment, it's actually happening, right? You don't have to travel there and come back. It's a simultaneity. It's from the inside out. It's like through the white hole, black hole, wormhole, gopher hole universe, coconut wireless. Just inside out coconut. So while we mentioned that, we just drop into that yummy milk. You are the coconut milk, not the husk. And just feel that deliciousness of being at the center of the center. Buddhist meditators or Buddhist practitioners and the guardian of these different sages from the past have made the case that the universe blinks on and off. And this blinking of the universe, this pulsing, this spanda, essentially implies that we disappear and reappear, we disappear and reappear, and it's happening so fast that you'd never notice, the movie frames, the holographic matrix movie frame here, but that's good. It's like you can enjoy the show, right? It's kind of a show that's been designed for us. But the idea that it blinks on and off is brilliant because it means that it explains where the universe just went, right? Where did what just happened, just gone, right? Gone, and then it appears again. And it keeps refreshing, and then that is our, it's like you speed those little booklets, right? So the fact that you disappear and reappear is critical for meditation because it means there's a part of you that isn't there already, right? You don't exist on some level, and yet you totally are full in that field as well, right? The observer principle is beyond the beyond. So let's just notice that you don't exist for a minute. And then notice that we're kind of the embrightened pulse of it all. We're kind of the shimmer of reality. We're kind of a reflection, reverberation. And we think, whoa, how come we're not experiencing the core? Well, we are experiencing the core because the core is forevermore. That's who we are, right? So we're just experiencing that non-local core as infinite potential, superabundance. Everything you ever had, got, are, comes from that. And so periodically it's good to thank it, right? Revel in it, bless it, dig it, right? Just love it. Wow. Because otherwise we're meditating on all the negative stuff. It's like there's 60,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are the same ones as yesterday, and they're not always that uplifting. So we can keep adding better thoughts. And the faster they go, let's say the speed of light thoughts are more intuitive. They happen more by themselves. They're not dragging the bag of some unfinished business. So words like Om are essentially kind of a shimmer reverberation that takes you into the stillness, right? Just the vibration. It's like a wave. Organizes the brain, because if you were thinking, oh, I want to eat a pickled sandwich, that's a kind of a strange set of thoughts, maybe or maybe not, but that's different than I'm the pure I am consciousness, right? You're going to have a more expanded effect than we're meditating on limited stuff. Yes, the Aiko groove has just kicked in, so let's groove with that for a minute. This is an African song I recorded. Six eight. Just for another 20 seconds or so. Just feel the joy in the music.
That's the basis of community.
I love you and you love me.
That's the basis of community.
So I don't plan what comes on after Healing Zither. It just sort of comes on, and so anyway, the universe wanted to dance there for a few minutes. African music. All right, so let's put it all together for a few minutes here. So what have we been doing? We've been traveling on the inside out software application. It's way better than outside in any day. Right, we're accessing non-local space, accessing infinite potential. Deepak Chopra calls it the wish-fulfilling tree. Right, you can drop into where the wavy gravy waveforms give you more expanded infinite possibility versus the sort of limited stuff of the surface of the brain, right? It's when our brain waves are going too fast. And the idea that you are the universe, right? That the universe is expressing itself as you, right? You're the universe talking to itself. Your brain is co-evolving with the universe as we speak, which means things are possible that we can't even imagine at this stage even, right? We're just beginning something amazing with our consciousness. How about a song? Okay. Oh, look at what just revealed themselves here. Concealment and revealment. They've just teleported themselves back in. So I'm curious whether you can hear this. And maybe someone could just let me know if you actually can hear that, because I can't really hear it unless I do this. Anybody? Anybody let me know if you can hear this? Yes. Okay, so what this is the fundamental and a delta wave. Right, it's a reference beam and the delta wave, and it's creating a seventh, which is kind of jazzy, but it's creating this waveform that will put you to sleep. But that's not the intention in this moment, but it will give you a beautiful feeling tone. Lightly. I'll do it again. So we didn't do our Star Trek theme, did we? I'll see if I can play it on a bamboo flute. Or at least a line or two. Whoops, sorry, wrong note. fully tricked. So this is a little song by Brett Dennen. I'm just kind of copying one little verse in it here, which I just love. It's very healing. And all that we have is love. And all that we have is hope and love. And I can rest assured that love will always cure you, no matter what your sickness is, no matter what ails you. So give love, it's the only thing that heals you. Come on, sisters, give it to your brothers. So give love, it's the only thing that heals you. Come on, brothers, give it to your sisters. If you give it, I have learned, it will all be returned if you only give your love. So give love, it's the only thing that heals you. Come on, sisters, to your brothers. Give it, I have learned, it will all be returned if you only give your love. If you only give your love. All right, everyone, thank you for joining me on this fun little journey into the deep space. And I do this every Tuesday, 4:30. I also do a healing meditation on the wellset.co site, and then I broadcast that with Facebook Live as well. So if you like this time, it's available Monday at 5 Pacific time and Tuesday 4:30. So namaste, everyone. Have a beautiful evening. Namaste, namaste.